4.5 hours after he took the oath of office, FBI Director James Comey finally wrapping up there. The House Oversight Committee asking him questions looking into Hillary Clinton's use of private email servers. And we're learning today that when she did testify in front of before FBI agents a couple Saturdays ago, that she was not sworn under oath, and that conversation was not recorded. I want to bring in Steve Shigaris, senior Washington political editor from our CBS bureau. Steve, at times this felt like they were bringing out a dead horse and beating it multiple times over and over again. On the Republican side, there were clear concerns of trying to, again, portray Hillary Clinton as lying under oath. Were there any new revelations from this?
I mean, there were a couple of interesting points. First of all, I mean, Comey, obviously, his main goal was to explain why he drew the conclusion that that she shouldn't be prosecuted. And he kept repeating himself by saying that there was no criminal intent that they could prove. And it was a point that seemed that the Republicans, members of the Republican side didn't want to really take. They kept pushing at him and saying, well, there was gross negligence, so why shouldn't you prosecute? And he kept repeating, no criminal intent, no criminal intent. On the Democratic side, you had a lot of accusations hurled at the Republicans, basically saying that they're turning this into a political charade. This is wasting the taxpayers' money. And so, I mean, in terms of new revelations, I thought the one interesting thing was that the chairman asked Comey if they had looked at Hillary Clinton's testimony to Congress, and if that had been part of this, and he said, no, we didn't look at it for perjury. We haven't been asked to. And so now they're going to, it seems, House Republicans are going to ask the FBI to look at her testimony and to figure out if she did perjure herself. And that is going to, again, seems to be opening another can of worms for Hillary Clinton, something I think the Republicans, are looking to continue talking about. They want to continue talking about this idea that Hillary Clinton is not trustworthy, trying to paint her as somebody who is not truthful or as a liar, as some of them have called her. And so that, to me, was the real sort of big revelation here, is that there's another avenue, I think, that Republicans are going to try to pursue here.
Was there a bit of vindication for Hillary Clinton? At one point, they talked about the email markings, and Director Comey was saying that she wasn't sophisticated enough to understand, and then clarified, technically sophisticated enough to understand the email classification system, but also went in to say that there were 3 emails with portion markings that further down you would be able to read and identify that it was classified. Was there some sort of vindication for Hillary Clinton on this one?
Well, that's what the Clinton people are arguing, and that's what the Democratic ranking member on the committee, Elijah Cummings, is arguing, saying she's exonerated now because of this. But at the same time, there was an exchange between Comey and Trey Gowdy, the Republican congressman, who basically went down a laundry list of the things that Hillary Clinton had said under oath, to Congress. And on 3 of the 4 of those things that he listed, Comey said those items weren't true, what she said. And as we heard on Tuesday, Comey pointed out several times that Hillary Clinton had basically said something different. Well, we had figured out she had said something different than what they had discovered. And so, yeah, she might be exonerated on that one point. But overall, there's plenty of evidence here to show that Hillary Clinton wasn't 100% truthful in the things that she was saying about her handling of these emails, about her handling of this server, and whether she had moved classified information or not. I mean, she had said repeatedly she had moved no classified information. Now, she had also said she had moved no marked classified information. And that is where I think we're going to get into this sort of parsing of what they're claiming as sort of a victory here, and what the Republicans are saying is an outright untruth.
Representative Trey Gowdy called it a double-tracked justice system, Steve. Do you think that sort of sense resonates with the American people? How are Americans responding to this?
Well, it's interesting. The Republicans consistently use that argument. At least the first several Republicans who talked about this said, we're hearing from people back in our districts who are saying they don't understand why there's no consequences for somebody like Hillary Clinton. And they went on to say, perhaps this is the average Joe. If this was the average Joe, they would have been prosecuted. But because it's a Hillary Clinton or because it's a powerful person, they're not being prosecuted. And they kept asking Comey about that. And it's a clear. Earlier, I was asked, is there going to be politics brought up in this hearing? This is all about politics. This is a political argument that Donald Trump has made on the stump. This is a political argument that Republicans are making. Basically, that the system is rigged and that the powerful are not held to the same standards as the average Joe. And so they're using this as an example. And you heard it from Chaffetz, the chairman. You heard it from many other Republicans. And so whether it's resonating or not, we'll find out as this election goes on, as this campaign goes on, whether it resonates. But it's definitely an argument that Republicans are using from the top down, from Trump on down. And they're using this specific incident as an example, or at least they're trying to use it as an example to say that the system is rigged.
4.5 hours, a little bit over 4.5 hour hearing today. Let's take a listen at some of the fireworks that went down today at the House Oversight Committee.
And we don't want to put people in jail unless we prove that they knew they were doing something they shouldn't do. And so when I look at the facts we gathered here, as I said, I see evidence of great carelessness, but I do not see evidence that is sufficient to establish that Secretary Clinton or those with whom she was corresponding both talked about classified information on email and knew when they did it, they were doing something that was against the law.
Did Hillary Clinton lie?
To the FBI? We have no basis to conclude she lied to the FBI.
So did you plan the timing of your announcement to help Secretary Clinton's campaign event on Tuesday?
No. Timing was entirely my own. Nobody knew I was going to do it, including the press. Look me in the eye and listen to what I'm about to say. I did not coordinate that with anyone. The White House, the Department of Justice, nobody outside the FBI family had any idea what I was about to say. I say that under oath. I stand by that. There was no coordination. There was an insinuation of what you were saying that I don't mean to get strong in responding, but I want to make sure I was definitive about that.
Today's hearing is political theater. There's not even the pretense of trying to get at the truth. This is a desperate attempt under an extraordinary set of circumstances, an emergency hearing. I don't know what the emergency is other than one side is about to nominate somebody who is a pathological narcissist.
So the former Secretary of State, one of the president's most important advisors on foreign policy and national security, had a server in her basement that had information that was collected from our most sensitive assets, and it was not protected by anyone, and that's not a crime? That's outrageous. People are concerned. What does it take for someone to misuse classified information and get in trouble for it?
Well, it takes mishandling it and criminal intent.
Criminal intent, Steve, is that something that Republicans will go after to try to keep this alive?
Well, that's the entire point that Comey was making. It's the point that he made on Tuesday, and it's the point that he's making today. And I think what's going on here is Comey couldn't have been clearer. What he was saying was that we could not prove that there was necessary criminal intent here. And until you can prove that, he argues there's no prosecutor who's going to take this case up. Now, Republicans kept going back at him and saying, but she was grossly negligent. And yes, Comey admitted that. She was grossly negligent, and they point out all these examples. You saw Congressman Hurd lay it out there for him. But that, according to Comey, at least in their estimation, is not a crime. Now, that's the debate moving forward that people are going to have, but that's the conclusion that the FBI has made, and the Justice Department has agreed with that conclusion.
It was interesting, Steve, because Comey wouldn't take the bait when he was asked if he would hire somebody from the FBI to a position who had been extremely careless. He wouldn't go there and say what he would actually do when he described the Clinton email handling situation. Where do you think this entire situation goes from here? The Justice Department has said that's it, it's over, we're done. But Republicans don't feel that way.
Well, legally, there's really nothing that can happen moving forward, right? And I think the Republicans, there's two avenues they're going to take. One, they're going to continue to talk about this in political terms and talk about how Hillary Clinton doesn't have the judgment and is not responsible to be president of the United States, and argue that she was untruthful when she was discussing her emails. And they have a laundry list of examples of her saying things that were contradicted by what Comey had said not only on Tuesday but in this hearing. So there's that political angle. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, earlier, I think they're going to go after her now and try to get the FBI to look to see if she perjured herself while under oath when she testified to Congress. And that's just going to be another several months of looking at this and talking about emails and talking about Hillary Clinton, which is never a good thing for somebody with Hillary Clinton's unfavorable ratings, with Hillary Clinton's problem convincing Americans to trust her, who think that she's untrustworthy and not honest. These are the kind of things you don't want hanging over you. And so, yes, she might have won the victory in terms of not being prosecuted and not being indicted, but there is a political fallout here that's going to continue, and the Republicans are going to make sure it doesn't end before November.
Steve Shigaris in Washington. Steve, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.